Dota has a lot of unique heroes, and each one of them brings something different and new to the battlefield. We have heroes that have a lot of damage with high evasion, a big teddy bear that deals more damage the more he attacks, small gremlin that makes clones of himself, or a mage that can steal enemy spells and use against his opponents. Because of all these different and unique characters, some of them can counter or get countered by certain heroes, which is why what hero you pick in your Dota games really matter and can increase or decrease your chances of winning. If you don't play Anti-Mage, that is, because he is capable of countering half of the Dota roster, and I'm being generous with the numbers. But are you interested? Because we're just getting started. Anti-Mage is an agility hero capable of high mobility that he can use to engage and disengage in the blink of an eye. See what I did there? He is very good against mages, hence why he's called the Anti-Mage. But why is he good against mages, you might ask? Because he is everything what a mage player hates. Having no mana, their spells getting blocked, and high mobility enemies. Anti-Mage is all of that. Any hero that relies on mana and abilities, which is like 90% of the heroes in these games, will suffer because of his presence. Especially this bracket, just forget about them. But let's just say that you pick a mage and the enemy team picks Anti-Mage. Now what do? You have two choices. Option number one, uninstall the game. This is the best option because this will permanently cure the disease. But we do have the second option. Turn that volume to the max and start blasting the KSI song. You know which one I'm talking about. Eventually one of your teammates might disconnect after hearing that song. And one of you might say use the mute button, but don't be ridiculous. These are Dota players that we're talking about. They don't know of such technology. Let's kick this off with the passive ability, Mana Break. Burns mana of your enemies whenever you auto attack them, dealing damage depending on mana burned. Enemies with no mana are also temporarily slowed. This ability also works with your illusions and is very annoying to fight against, especially if you buy something like Manta style. He will suck out all the mana in a matter of seconds faster than you can even respond, leaving you with nothing to fight and completely useless. Next is your W ability, Blink. Anti-Mage can teleport himself in and out of combat at any time. It has a very good cast range and has a very short cooldown. This ability might not look much, but when you pair this ability with your passive, this is a deadly combo. He can blink in, drain your mana, kill you, and then teleport away like nothing ever happened. If you don't have any proper stuns, roots, or silence, you won't be able to kill him and he will kill you over and over again. Next is his E ability, Counterspell. It has an active and passive use. It gives Anti-Mage magic resistance. And when I say it gives you magic resistance, I mean it gives you a lot of magic resistance. And he's not messing around, he really hates magic. And the numbers shows. But when this ability is activated, creates anti-magic shell around Anti-Mage that blocks and sends any targeting spells back towards enemies. This is one of the most useful or useless abilities in your arsenal. All depends if you can land this ability or not. Because believe it or not, it has a 1.2 second duration. So landing this ability at the right time is crucial for this spell to be effective. But there is one good thing about this spell. It has a very short cooldown when it is leveled max. Then we have the ultimate ability called Mana Void, a targeted spell that deals damage in an AoE depending on target's missing mana. It also mini-stuns your targeted opponent, which means less mana your target has, more damage you will deal to your enemies. Which is why most of the time intelligence heroes will be the biggest priority because of their big mana pool. You would be just vibing, having fun, then suddenly
from the screen to the ring to the pen to the king, where's my crown, that's my blade.
So this is how you should play Anti-Mage. First, you find your target. Most of the time it will be a mage or someone with high mana pool. Then you will use your blink to get on top of them. Use your counter spell because most of the time they will try to disable you in a panic. Then you keep auto attacking them until you completely drain their mana. and then press your ultimate ability to finish the job. This is how you play Anti-Mage. But he also has upgrades that we're gonna talk about. First one being the Shard, that gives you another counterspell ability that you can only use on your allies. And anytime you are able to land your counterspell successfully, creates an Anti-Mage illusion near enemy target that attacks them. Then we have the Aghanim Scepter. After casting Blink, your next mana break burns 20% max mana of your enemies and prevents the target from regenerating or gaining mana for a short duration. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the Scepter, especially after they changed it, but there are situations where it is really good. And before I forget to mention, your cooldown also gets reduced. But in my opinion, Blink Fragment was better. Before I start talking about the builds, I need to clarify something. This is not going to be your average build, okay? Because I cannot and will not play this game correctly. It gets really boring playing the same build over and over again, knowing next time you are going to play the game, you're gonna make the same build. So instead, I'm gonna show you the most psychopathic way of playing Anti-Mage. First, we're gonna start off by picking Anti-Mage and playing Offlane. And no, I'm not joking around with this one. Then you will spend your time playing in lane, making sure to secure as many last hits as possible. The first item that you're gonna buy is Diffusal Blade, not because of mana burn, but because of its slow and damage that you deal. This will help you make you active in early to mid game, because this is the part where Anti-Mage really struggles a lot. Next, you're going to go for Manta Style. More clones mean faster you will be able to drain your opponent's mana, especially with the Diffuse Slow, you can lock down enemy targets. Next, you're going to buy Aeon Disc or Aghanim Scepter. Aeon Disc is really good for taking risk and being more aggressive. Aghanim Scepter is not my favorite item to buy because they've changed it now, so we no longer have Blink Fragment, which was really good for this build. But it is still something you can buy and will help drain mana quicker. Other items that I would like to mention is Eye of Skadi, Butterfly, Octarine Core, Sanjin Yasha, and Sheepstick. One thing that you have to understand is that this build requires you to be more active in fights and be more aggressive. Also, try to target enemies that highly relies on abilities and mana. Also, be annoying with your blinks and counter spells. Does that mean you're going to win all of your games with this build? Of course not. But is it better than spending 20 minutes of the game just farming? Of course it is. Am I promoting people to play Offlane Anti-Mage? Yes. Yes, I am. But hey, I'm not telling people to buy Vanguard first item, so at least that's something positive about this build, right? And if you guys really think about it, this build does work. If you are up against a team with mages or with no hard counters, then this build won't cause you any problems. So don't worry and give this build a try. And remember, I am not responsible for your losses, so don't complain in the comment section, alright? Other than that, just have fun. And if you have any other builds that you want me to try, tell me in the comment section. I might try it in my next video or maybe in my free time. I don't know. But with that being said, I will shut up and end the video. Bye.